Hi, it's Wednesday, and that means it's time for another video edition of Widower Wednesday. I'm Abel Keogh, author of the book Dating a Widower, and today we are going to discuss widowers who go on support dating sites for widows and widowers and have one-on-one relationship with widows when they're already in a relationship with someone else. So this is the question. A viewer sent it in, and I am sharing this publicly with the person's consent. So thank you for letting me share it with the group here. It says, I'm wondering if through any of your books or counseling sessions you have addressed the issue of widowers who have gone on to support/dating sites for widows and widowers. My widower has been personally friend requesting several widows on a site and continues to go back and forth with them in private conversations. I told him I was uncomfortable with that and he agreed to go off the site, but he never did. And I saw on his phone that he continues to reach out to at least one. What is your opinion on the matter? Okay, good question. There's actually a couple issues that I'm going to address here. I think the first issue is that of support sites and, should widows or widowers be on them? The second one is sending personal friend requests to widows or widowers and having personal conversations with them. And the third issue that I see in this is he's still doing it after you set boundaries with them. So I'm going to take those one at a time. So I don't necessarily have an issue with obviously widows and widowers being on support sites. I'm on quite a few of them. I don't participate much in them, but I am on a few of them. It's kind of interesting just to kind of for me to see the kind of the questions and concerns that come up. Kind of helps me in my counseling sessions, things of that nature. So I don't really mind if a widow or a widower is on a support site, but there's some rules around that, right? Does his participation in the site stopping him from moving forward with you, right? So like, is he on these sites? Is he spending an excessive amount of time on these sites, for example? So instead of, hey, an evening out with you, or maybe you're sitting there watching a movie and he's, whatever, on his phone or on his a laptop answering questions. Or, does maybe going through this, is it triggering grief or triggering other things, memories that's making it kind of difficult for him to actually move forward. So if it's stopping him, if these sites are, if participation in this site is stopping him from moving forward, or it's interfering with your relationship, and in this case, maybe making some, sounds like some personal friend requests with some of the widowers or some of the widows on there, I think it's probably not a good idea. But again, I know there are lots of people that I know that are on the sites. They still help out and they're still able to, move forward, have healthy relationships. I don't have a problem with it. So, you need to evaluate that. He needs to evaluate it if the participation on these sites is kind of interfering with the relationship, which, per this, it sounds like it is. The second one I had, or the second issue, is really reaching out to these widows and, requesting to be friends and going back with them on private conversations. So again, I don't generally, on social media, just so you know, I generally don't reach out to people unless I actually know them. I know I have people reach out to me, and for the most part, by the way, I'll accept your friend request, if I can see why you want to connect or whatever. But as far as me reaching out to people, I really don't do that unless I have some kind of a friendship or actually know who you are. But I think really the issue is he's having those personal and private conversations with them. And so my worry here is he doing some kind of grief bonding, or, what are they really talking about? Is it, I understand, the need or the want to help people who are in a similar situation. Sometimes, if you've lost a spouse, it's just hard to find anybody who can relate to you unless you've actually lost a spouse too. So I understand that. And so my issue isn't necessarily that he's reaching out to them, but I'm just worried. It's like, what's going on in these private conversations? Why is it going on in a private conversation where they have this public group? Why can't this conversation take place within that group, and give some feedback that way? So yeah, I'm worried about a grief bonding or just other kinds of emotional bonding. And yes, in my counseling sessions, in my coaching sessions, I guess I should say, I have seen problems arise from this where the widow, where a widower is having one-on-one conversations with widows. He goes, well, it's friendly, I'm just helping them. But usually what happens is it's more than just, maybe that's how it starts and the intentions are good, but then he starts talking with someone who's actually understands what he's going through and maybe understands his concerns more, where he's dating someone or in a relationship with someone who is still like, hey, I don't understand this, I don't even know what to do. So and then he ends up dumping that person for this person that understands him better, right? So I do have a problem with the one-on-one conversations. Again, if you feel like it's interfering with your relationship. And I guess, my other thing would be is, would he show you these conversations? If he says, well, it's just friendly chat, I'm helping her out, whatever, she's having issues with this. Good. Does he have an issue with you showing the conversations? I know that I do get, requests through Facebook and stuff. People have questions about, the issue with the widower they're going through, and, I'll reply, but I don't spend a lot of time doing that. And I also don't have any issue with, if Julie said, show me these chats, I'd be like, yeah, here, take the phone, read all of them. I don't care. It's not like I'm having extended long conversations with these people. It's like, yeah, here's some resources for you. Here's my opinion. And, let me know if you have any questions. I'm not having long, detailed conversations with these people. And, I think the same here. Sometimes I get requests too. It's not just online things. I've had people email me where the issue is maybe the widower is going out to lunch one-on-one with these widows that he's met, and it's like, well, I'm just there to support and help her. And it's like, no, you should kind of be invited to these things if he's meeting her up in a public spot and, they're doing lunch. If he's excluding you or he's not letting you see these conversations, in my mind, that is a huge red flag. And there's probably more going on there than you see. And look, I'm just going to say, again, just having been, having lost a spouse and been there, you're really hungry for somebody that can understand your feelings and what you're going through. And it's very easy to form bonds and attachments outside of the other relationship that you're in. And so I just, if there's any widows or widowers watching this, if you're seriously dating someone or in a relationship with someone, an exclusive relationship, I would caution you against, having these in-depth one-on-one conversations with other widows or widowers, simply because, it can help you lose focus of this other relationship that you're in. And again, if you're on these grief support sites, I don't think it's a bad thing, but you need to really judge, is being on this side and answering questions or even bringing up my own questions is doing more harm than good to myself and to the relationship. And, that's something you've got to answer for yourself. But again, the biggest red flag, and this is the third issue I wanted to discuss, is that, you asked him to stop, whatever, his behavior on these sites and requesting friends was making you uncomfortable, and you asked him to stop, and he said he'd do it, but then he's still doing it. He really didn't stop, right? He's still on the side. He's still at least having a conversation with at least one person. That, in my mind, is the biggest red flag out of all of these, is that, you've asked him to do something that's interfering with your relationship, and he didn't do it, or he said he was going to do it and then changed his mind. So I guess in my mind, that's a bigger issue, is that you should be number one in his heart and in his mind. And if she asks you to do something, you asked him to do something, she asked you to do something, you should do that if it's interfering with the relationship. Just like if Julie, said, hey, these coaching sessions that you're doing are getting in the way of our relationship, stop them. I would stop them. I'd figure out a way to wind down the business thing and do it. So anyway, so major red flags here. I do worry that, there's probably more going on, where he won't stop. And if he's not showing you this stuff, there's probably more going on. But ultimately, you should be number one, and you shouldn't feel bad for feeling like number one or making these requests. And my opinion would be, is how do you proceed from here? Is I would just let him know that this is unacceptable, and if he's going to keep doing this, that the relationship is over. And at that point, he's given a choice: is it having these, being on these support sites, or having these conversations with people? What's more important? Is it that, or having a relationship with you? And if he won't stop what he's doing, well, you have your answer, and you know what you need to do. So anyway, that is my thought on the matter. If you have your own thoughts, leave them in the comments below. Feel free to subscribe to this channel so you will get notifications every time that I upload a new video. If you want to schedule a coaching session, there is a link in the description below. Happy to talk to you about your own questions and concerns that you may have, whether you're dating a widow a widower, or if you're a widow or widower yourself and just trying to work through things. I'm Abel Keogh, author of the book Dating a Widower, and I will see you next Wednesday.